Day 7 of the double murder trial for Alex Murdaugh began with the defense cross-examining one of the law enforcement officers who interviewed Murdaugh after his wife and son were killed.
We have team coverage tonight in Walterboro, beginning with Nick Neville. And Nick, walk us through some of the key moments from today's testimony.
Yes, so the defense started off with a blistering cross-examination of SLED Special Agent Jeff Croft over the Murdaugh family guns, seeking to cast doubt over the fact that one of the guns owned by the family was used to kill Maggie and Paul. The defense then taking Croft to task over that critical moment during Alex's second interview with investigators, where prosecutors say he appears to make a confession. Murdaugh defense attorney Jim Griffin asserting that despite SLED retrieving several shotguns from the Moselle property, none were capable of firing the 12-gauge shotgun shells that killed Paul.
Have you ever found the murder weapons, to your knowledge? Not that I'm aware of, sir.
Griffin suggested the 300 blackout rounds are commonly used in rural areas like Hampton County, the state pushing back on redirect.
How many criminal investigations have you worked where 300 blackout was the murder round?
I have none.
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 Defense also criticizing law enforcement for allegedly not checking Alex's alibi, the home of his mother, the day after the murders.
Are you aware of anyone ever going to Alameda to search the house until sometime in September of 2021? There was a number of agents out working. I'm not sure what the other agents did.
Later, continued questioning of SLED agent Jeff Croft over his recollection of his interview with Alex on June 10th.
Are you 100% confident that Alex said, I did him so bad, rather than they did him so bad? I am 100% confident in what I heard and I interpreted him as saying.
Now, this afternoon, the state introduced a great deal of cell phone evidence, including records from the phones of Maggie, Paul, Alex, and Buster. Much of this testimony was really very technical in nature, but it's crucial to the state's case here, as they say that they have evidence that they're going to be able to, they have cell phone evidence that they're going to be able to contradict Alex's timeline of events of the night of the murders and place him at the murder scene. Now, back to that apparent confession, our Greg Adeline is standing by. We were listening to that moment. Greg, tell us more about how that moment played out in court today.
And Nick, yeah, that moment receiving a lot of scrutiny, not only from reporters, but also people who are closely following this trial, both watching it on TV and those who are following it online. What exactly did Alex Murdaugh say on that night to investigators on June the 10th, 2021? That key moment playing out in court. We're going to tell you exactly what was said as Croft was on that witness stand. He described the murder scene by saying, quote, I did him so bad, perhaps in reference to Paul. That's Alex Murdaugh talking. The audio played in the courtroom for the jury Monday, with Croft confirming what he heard. And today, as expected during cross-examination, Murdaugh defense attorney Jim Griffin repeatedly pressed Croft's interpretation. He asked why he didn't press the issue with Murdaugh. That blistering exchange lasting several minutes. I want you to hear two portions about how that all played out, including a dramatic moment when Griffin slowed down the video to get a better listen at what was said. But Croft wouldn't budge. Take a listen.
Well, let me ask you back on June 10th. Why didn't you ask him right then and there when he said, I did him so bad? Why didn't you ask him, what do you mean by that, Alex? Again, it was early in the investigation. It was more of an information gathering interview, if you would call it an interview, with Mr. Alex. And we did not, at that particular time in the investigation, we did not have evidence to challenge anything that Mr. Alex would have told us. It was decided that we would not cross that at that time. Your Honor, we'd like to play it again at 1/3 speed.
It's just so bad. It's so bad.
And Croft said that ultimately a jury would decide what exactly was said on that tape. And of course, that's ultimately what matters. in the end. We will have complete coverage here as testimony continues at the Colleton County Courthouse. But for now, we are live in Walterboro. Greg Adeline, WIS News 10.
Our Greg Adeline and Nick Neville team coverage from Colleton County on day 7 of the Alex Murdaugh murder trial. We will continue to follow this story, Judy.
And of course, as always, Billy and I will be joined in our second half hour with our legal analyst, trial attorney Carl B. Grant, who will have some insight about that compelling testimony we heard on the stand today, including why the testimony about the cell phones is proving to be so important in this